Hi, I'm Kathy Mills from Short Film Edits, and I'm here with Samantha Drews for an interview today. How are you?
Hi, Kathy. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Could we start this with you telling us a little bit about you?
A little bit about me. Um, if we're going off of the fact that I'm an actress, um, I work primarily for Real Short and am an independent contractor, so I work on other projects outside of that company as well. But I also write and I produce.
Yeah.
A little bit of my background is that I graduated with a film degree, so I didn't specify in acting.
Mhm.
But I did follow that an acting path to become a director, which ended up not being what I wanted to do at the end of the day.
So, what drew
Yeah.
you to the vertical space specifically?
You know what's funny is I didn't. I was on the very first one here in the United States. So when I applied for the gig, I didn't know what it was
Yeah.
until I got onto set and they're like, "Oh, it's for TikTok." They're telling me it's going to be vertical. It's for TikTok. I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. It's a new format." I had no idea. I had no idea what I was getting into at the beginning of this
Yeah.
at all. Um, and 3 years later, it's continuously on this rising slope that I've witnessed, all the changes that have come along with it. So I didn't necessarily I didn't necessarily get to choose. I just kind of happened to fall into this space.
Yeah. And like you said, it's growing and it's getting bigger and bigger every day. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, you've been credited as a screenwriter in several productions. How do you balance your time between acting and crafting a story from scratch?
Um, I actually haven't written anything in a minute. I've mostly been focusing on acting because it was incredibly difficult to do both. It got to the point where I was going to set and I would work however many days they needed me for set. And sometimes I would be working after my 12 days on set. I would immediately be writing again when I get back home or to my hotel. And then once that project was done, I'm back to writing. I would be writing 16-hour days every day, reworking, reshopping, and doing that. And it got to the point where I never had a moment's rest. I wasn't able to really eat. I wasn't taking care of my health as well as I could have. Um, and I was just like, okay, I need to juggle this a little bit better and negate time management for this and focus on one thing or the other.
Yeah, yeah, understandable. Sometimes it's hard to, especially like with these verticals, they're shot so long days. You've got like so many, and then you do the writing that would take up so much time. So, was there a project early in your career that you now realize prepared you for the work you're doing today without even realizing the importance of it?
Hmm. I want to say my entire college career, honestly. I know that's probably not the answer you're looking for. Because we're, but I mean, more specifically, it's not necessarily one specific project that helped me be able to act and to perform. It's more the fact that I was able to understand the inner workings of how to make a film. So I understand when it comes to because I've done everything. I've done costuming, I've been an editor, I've done CGI, I've done lighting, I've been a cinematographer very briefly for small projects, I've directed, I've written, like I've done everything. And knowing everything, I'm able to understand what it is that you need from an actor, especially when you're on a set to be professional, to be prepared, so that it makes everyone else's job easier. Because if at the end of the day, if you're leading a film, if you're even just have a line on screen, being prepared is probably the one thing that can help ease the crew's mind. They don't have to think about cast anymore. It's just the director. Um, and you're doing less takes. And when the crew trusts the actor, it's a smooth production. So that's the biggest thing that I learned is, understanding producing, getting locations, how much everything costs, like all of these little things. And when it comes to editing, there's certain things they look for with eyeline or Sometimes I'll ask, do you want a clean enter, clean exit? Or is this shop dirty? Is it clean? I mean, there's all these terminologies and, you know, how to effectively uplift your team in the best way
Mm.
possible. And that's what is to be able to perform.
Could you tell everybody who doesn't know what a dirty and clean shop means?
Sure.
Mm.
So, let's say we have my screen here, right? And I'm the focus of the screen. We can be looking over somebody's shoulder here. This would be so like this is someone's shoulder. This would be a dirty shot. It's not clean, which is where you're just on a single, you're just seeing the whatever the subject is. It can be a person, it can be a dog, it could be an insert of a pen,
Yeah.
but that's essentially what that means. And a clean enter, clean exit is when you basically like let's say you have a clean frame. Let me just scoot down here. You can see my lovely
Mm.
background. And then that's a clean enter. And then to make it easier to cut, you'd also want to make sure you exit frame. Um, and so I'll ask the director if I'm standing in frame so that they can get focus. Because sometimes like you'll be here so focus can get you, and then you have to leave frame. Sometimes you don't. It depends. And I'll ask, do you want me clean enter, clean exit? And the director goes, oh, yes. And so you know.
Yeah, they'll be like, "Oh, they know what they're doing. This is great." You know, that
Yeah,
that would help.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how do you define like how do you feel acting while knowing everything else around you? Like, you know the director, you know the producer. So when you're acting, does all of that go through your head as well, or do you just act?
I just act.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I mean, if you're thinking about the director, if you're thinking about the producer, if you're thinking, what is my co-star thinking about me? What am I gonna have for lunch while I'm in the mo like it doesn't work. What's going through my mind while I'm acting are a couple of things. I'm thinking thoughts at the same time. Um, and normally I'm thinking, am I hitting my mark? And what my character is thinking. And normally, whatever the situation is, if one way or another, if I find myself getting out of this headspace, getting out of my character's headspace. The trick that I use is I will look at my scene partner and I'm thinking, and I quite ask myself, what are they thinking of me? And that immediately sets me back into my body. Because that's what we do in real life, right? We think about other people. What are they thinking? And
Yeah.
your intention's there. So that's how I kind of get back into it if I do find myself slipping, which does happen.
Yeah. You know, that's understandable. Absolutely. It's hard to. I mean, in a set environment like that, when you have to meet a mark, you'd be like, "Am I doing it? What can I do to change it?" But you still got to do it. And majority of the time, you guys are fantastic. But it's I always give props to you guys for having to like in the last second just come up with something and possibly change it without because you get the
Yes,
scripts.
improving.
Yeah, improv. It's just
It's fun. I try to
hats
do it
to
in
you
every
guys.
scene.
I just yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
good
I
at
try
thinking
to
on my feet that quickly.
what I try to do, what I found out, this is something that I realized this year, is improv your body, not the words. And that has
Nice.
changed everything for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that because they're very
Hmm.
strict on the words and the dialogue. Yeah,
Hmm.
I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. Okay. What's one area you feel creators deserve more control than they currently have?
Ooh. Hmm. See, this is a tough question for me because I know all the inner workings.
Oh, right, yes.
So I know purpose for everything.
Yeah.
And I'm very chill about the purposes for everything. Um, Maybe not everything. I mean, obviously there's things that aren't perfect. Um,
Mm,
but for me specifically, on a day-to-day basis, if I'm on set, I would say I would love to do more improv with lines, going back to what I just said. I would love to be able to like move in blocking. There's something to be said about the style of verticals because they're vertical, that we are not allowed to move. So the
Yeah.
blocking and because it's so fast, we have to pretty much just stay in one spot. So we're not allowed
Okay.
to like move much because it creates a new setup, eats more time.
Yeah.
Um, so I wish that something we had more was not necessarily control, but freedom with.
Freedom. Yeah.
But that's, that's time and money. And so two of my
Yeah.
lines here.
Yeah. 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 No, that's fair. That's fair. Could you please walk us through the process of learning ASL for your roles?
Oh, oh my gosh. Okay, I can go on about this.
Yep.
I'll make it a little
Go
bit more
for it.
condensed. So, the reason I took that role, is, and I know I don't know it, I'm not ASL, I'm not fluent in it. I took it because I wanted to play a role of a nonverbal character. Specifically because I have suffered in the past of being nonverbal. I'm someone who can have trouble speaking during certain times, especially in high stress situations,
Yeah.
um, because of things that have happened in my past. And I wanted to take this role as more for me than anyone else, to
Mm.
be honest,
Yeah.
because it was something that I felt like I could accurately represent and portray. And I don't think you meet someone who's mute every day. The backlash to that is I'm not fluent. Um,
Yeah.
but to learn it was a lot.
Mm.
I remember I read this the entire script and I highlighted all of my lines and I literally was like, I don't even know where to start. Oh, my internet's unstable. Let me know if you can't hear me.
Yeah. You just froze
Um,
for a second, but you're back, so it's fine.
cool. I had to go line by line and learn and look up every individual word if it existed in ASL, and then how to format it grammatically correct, which I cheated and I used ChatGPT. I don't know how accurate that was, but better than nothing, I guess.
Yeah.
So I used ChatGPT to help me with grammar. Again, don't know if that's accurate,
Yeah.
um, but it helped. It streamlined the process significantly for me because I don't think I would have been able to do it as
Yeah.
efficiently without it. But I had to look up every individual word, if it was the right connotation, if it was appropriate for the relationship with the character. So with my character, I don't remember her name. But anyway, my character with Ryan, I first learned to spell his name, and then because there's a thing in the ASL community where you can give someone a name, like an ASL name. And so I wanted to find a point in the script where she stops signing his name and like gives like she signs his signature. And so I just made up a signature name for him and he made up one for me as well. So there was just so much research into it, and I think it was one of the more difficult pieces of just dialogue to learn. I had 49 like exactly 49 lines with one giant monologue at the beginning of the script, which actually was the last scene we filmed. Thank
Yeah.
God. Um,
Yeah. I'm glad
because
they
I don't
gave you
think
that
I would have been able to
last.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they gave me 2 weeks to kind of settle into it and get used to it. And by then I had it down. There were certain repeat words where I was like, okay, I got that one immediately. Um, and new words would come up like doctor, and was starting to kind of get the flow of things after 2 weeks of doing it.
Yeah.
The first 2 days were rough. Luckily, I only had like 2 lines each day, but it was still like hard. And
Mm.
then figuring out when to say them, and then getting people's attention first to say the line as well. Like I had to be like, I had to like tap Luke. I'm like, look at me, damn it, look at me, and look at
Yeah.
me. Okay, now explain. um, because I mean, I've been there. I've been there in real life, and there are a few times on set where I did go mute.
Yeah.
And I had to go up to the director and be like, sorry, like I can't talk now. If anyone can sign with me because I'm learning.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, so there are a few times during that set where I couldn't talk. And actually the very, very the ending where she does speak at the end, I actually was struggling to speak during the filming of that scene. So when I'm struggling to talk, I'm like actually struggling to speak in that moment.
Mm.
Um yeah, so it was a lot.
I am.
Every single free moment was me studying.
I get that. I understand where you're coming from. My daughter is exactly the same. So
Oh
whenever
yeah.
she's highly stressed or anything, she can't talk and she writes things down. Um,
Hmm.
so I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
One thing you may be happy to learn is here in Australia, you know how like you go to school and you know they teach you different languages like Italian, German, things like that. In her school, they teach ASL. Yeah, so I
Love
was very
that.
proud to know that because I think that's a skill that everybody should have. I mean, I don't have it. I
Mhm.
used to know it, but I'm not, when you don't use it all the time, you don't keep it. But they
Yeah.
teach ASL. And she did a performance at Assembly a few weeks ago, which I knew about, and so I went. But she kept it quiet that the whole performance was done in ASL. So all
Oh,
these little kids doing sign language up on stage to perform was just I cried a little bit.
oh no, I'm tearing up. I'm
Oh,
not
I'm
gonna lie, I'm
sorry.
tearing up.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
that's so sweet. No, no, no,
But
no, no. No, I think
it
that's so
it's
sweet and such a
important.
valuable skill.
It's important, and I'm just so glad that the schools are starting to recognize that this is a skill that everybody should have. So,
Yeah. Okay.
okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Sorry. No,
We'll
it's
change the
it's
subject.
so meaningful to me. So thank you for sharing that. Um, that's really sweet.
That's okay. Sorry to make you cry. I didn't mean to.
No, no, it's
Mm.
okay. I do it all the time.
We'll try to change that. We'll try and change that. Okay. Um, what's the biggest skill you've developed recently as an actor?
Oh my God, car on command. LOL. Uh,
And not on command.
yeah. 100%. Because I mean, at the beginning of last year, when I was getting back into the acting, more consistently, because I did a couple other projects, that year prior, but none of them were verticals. And I was able to cry, but not genuine the way that I wanted to per type of cry. And the project I'm talking about is Mommy Don't Cry, Daddy Sorry. We shot that exactly a year ago. I think we finished around this time last year. And it, there's the big cry where I think they took out the sound for that one because it was so guttural. That was incredibly heart-wrenching to do that. But there were other times where the script says like she cries, and I was just like struggling with it. And it wasn't until I think maybe after Death Heiress, I forget the project I did after that. Maybe it was You Are My Destiny. I don't remember which one, but where I figured it out. Like it clicked for me all of a sudden. There were things that I learned from Death Heiress and from Mommy Don't Cry that I have been able to now finesse that. So I can do all different types of cries, and I've learned my body, what my body needs. Like I'm not allowed to have caffeine on set. It's a big no-no for me because it messes with the chemicals in my brain. So caffeine is a stimulant. It's an upper. It's gonna make you happy. It's gonna give you dopamine, serotonin, all of those good feelings. I can't cry if I'm in that state of mind. Can't do it. It also, I think it dehydrates you, so it doesn't help with that either.
It does.
So
Yeah.
no caffeine whenever when I'm crying on set.
Yeah.
Denied for me. Um, and I also get super fatigued when I'm on it, so it's harder to memorize lines as well on top of it.
Yeah.
So I make sure before every scene I drink 1 to 2 bottles of water if I'm gonna cry, because I'm gonna cry it out. It's gonna be on my body,
Yeah.
it's gonna be everywhere. And then electrolytes to make sure I'm not flushing out any minerals that my body needs just for my health and my safety.
Yeah.
Um, And oh, there was something else I was gonna say, but I mean, that's the general gist of it, is knowing my body, knowing what it needs, and that's the biggest skill that I've learned this year is knowing what works for me for my specific body and
Yeah.
how it works, how my mind works, how my tool works.
Yeah, definitely. And to be honest, that's a massive skill to have to be able to cry like that on command. It would not be easy. Um,
No.
yeah, you know. Um,
It's
And the
exhausting.
Yeah, I'm
It is
sure it is.
exhausting.
I mean, I know that when
I
I cry, I'm like puffy for like hours, maybe even like the next day, your eyes just
the next
stay
day.
puffy. Yeah.
Yep, I did For You Are My Destiny for 5 days straight, 12 hours. I reserved my energy as much as I could. I would still cry when, we were on the cameras on my co-stars. But when it would turn to me, then I would like a full performance. It's on
Yeah.
me. Any of the improv I need to do that I can say over other people's lines, things like that. Because I won't improv over other people's, like I'll do what the script says.
Yeah.
Um, but during You Are My Destiny, I cried so much. We shot all of the hospital scenes first. That was the first
Mm,
thing we tackled.
of
And
course.
by the fifth day, 12 hours straight, I think one of the days was a half day for me, so it was a little bit easier. So 4.5 days. That fifth day, I walked onto set. I could barely open my eyes that morning. They were so dry and so red. I actually uploaded a TikTok about it because I was just like so delirious, so exhausted.
Aw.
And I we did the first scene of the day that I was in, which was the scene where I'm talking with the doctor and finding out my kid has cancer or something like that. Or one of that scene specifically where my hands on the table. The reason my hands on the table is because I'm closing my eyes, literally. I'm sitting there when we're shooting his stuff, I'm like this.
Oh,
Because I
yeah.
couldn't keep my eyes open.
Yeah.
And so they brought me back, makeup brought me back. They gave me some under eye stuff and I took a nap to just recharge and reset. And then I was able to keep my eyes open a little bit better.
Yeah, I can imagine. It would be so draining. And
So
you know,
exhausted.
I can't even understand, like, I don't understand if there's any medical things as to, the amount of times you cry, whether that's a thing or not. But I assumed that, like you
Oh
said,
yeah.
dry eyes, sometimes I get dry eye. I don't, sometimes I'm sitting here going like this in my interviews. It's because I've got dry eye,
Ugh.
which I've got, eye drops for and stuff. But like constantly crying would set that off a lot more. So, yeah. Well,
Mhm.
yep.
Yeah, they gave me extreme eye drops and those burned. Those burned
Oh,
really
yes.
bad.
That do. Yes. I
Yeah.
know that there's like a gel that you can put in. Actually, bad kind of story here.
Gel?
I put like
Huh?
a gel in my eye that is supposed to keep it like moisturized overnight. Which I've had a few of them. Some of them are really great, but then some of them are not. So have a good research into it before you look into that. But one of them
Okay.
I put in my eye, and I woke up in the
Okay.
morning and I couldn't see. And I was like,
Oh,
oh my God. And I freaked out. And I just like
yeah.
washed it out of my eye. And I will never use that one again. But
Oh,
there are some that you can put in your eyes and they keep them moisturized overnight and it works better than eye
oh.
drops. So,
Okay. Noted. Noted. I'm putting that in my actor's bag.
yeah. I mean, that'd be different here, obviously, to the US, but if they've got something over
I'm
there
sure.
that it could be very beneficial for you.
I'm sure they do. Thank you for sharing that. Yay,
You're
see more
welcome.
skills to learn. More things. Thank you.
Oh, God. Now I've got something in my eye.
Oh no, no, I brought your attention to it.
It's the eyes. What's the hardest part of writing characters you later have to play?
I didn't do that actually. I didn't do that with
Okay.
your short. Um, I did do that with a short that I wrote personally. That's currently being edited, and I don't think I will do it again. I was told to do it. I had when I interviewed with Disney, because I worked for ABC Signature, I interned for them in their post and production department. And during one of the interview processes, they asked me, like, oh, like you make short films, do you act in them as well? And I was like, no. And they're like, why?
Mm,
Why not? And I was like, oh, well, it's feels weird. It feels weird for me to do that. Like it feels very
yeah.
self-serving, and I don't like it. So I tried it. To say that I tried it, and
Yep.
I'm not a fan. Maybe for a comedy or something not super serious, because it's an extra layer of vulnerable to do a piece that you wrote if it's a drama.
Yes, yeah, I can imagine. Especially since you know every detail as to how you felt when you wrote it, as to what it would be for you to play it out. Yeah, yeah, I get that. Okay. Um, what's one production skill you think every actor should learn?
Editing,
Yep.
editing, 100%,
Editing. Yep.
100%. That is the thing that pieces together everything.
Mm.
Um, because the director is thinking like an editor, the cinematographer is thinking like an editor, and everyone aiding the cinematographers part of their build. I mean, continuity. I think that is the biggest tool that you could get is learning how to properly stitch together film. Um, yeah, that's yeah. That I have no other no
Yeah.
notes. Just editing,
I
100%.
get what you mean. I mean, I've dabbled in some editing. So like obviously I edit these and like I know how to dabble with into editing, and it's hard when scenes don't finish how they can move on to the next one. My biggest pet hate for editing is continuity. I love continuity. Even just watching, if that's there, it's got to be there again in the next scene. Like, yeah, so I get
Hmm.
that. And I also highly believe that editing can either make or break a film, no matter how good the acting
Oh,
is.
oh, yes. Oh my God, yes. I mean, the editor basically crafts each of the actors' performances.
Yeah,
I mean, they really do. Um, yeah. I mean, it's synonymous with each other. I mean, everything is synonymous with each other, but the editing is, in my opinion, next to writing, is the biggest component of a make or break film
yeah,
because an edit can be jarring and it can take you out of it immediately. And you're like, oh, I'm watching something, and you're not in it anymore. You're like, oh,
yeah.
what did that line just say? Oh man, I'm not okay, I'm out. You know?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, yes,
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah,
As someone who used to edit, yeah, for a living. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, there have been certain, I won't say names or anything, but there's been certain people that are like, oh my God, I was so excited for this film, but the editing killed it for me. And I'm like, oh, so, it can go
Hmm.
both ways, but it can improve some things as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay. What's your approach to playing emotionally demanding roles? We've spoken a little bit about
Hmm.
this.
Oh man. I mean, it depends per role. Um, there are some characters that come easily, and there are others that are a little bit more difficult.
Yeah,
If I really want to get into a character, if I have enough time to get into a character, because sometimes you don't get enough time to
yeah,
really dive into who this person is. But if I get time to dive into it, You Are My Destiny was one of those times where I got to really flesh out the character that I was going to portray. I had about a month, and I wrote um my character's entire backstory, what her goals were, what her beliefs are, what does she really want, what does she fear. I wrote a giant essay about this character and the story that she goes through, and I did it for all three different parts of who she is because she changes three times in that script. We start out with her being a little bit young and naive and maybe a little bit immature, someone who doesn't really have a care for all of the world. She's a little bit eccentric. And then she shifts. She has this big traumatic experience in her life, and that causes this rift in her. And now she has, for the first time in her life, has to take responsibility. So I like to take out it in chunks. Um, and for that specific script, just as an example, there were three different chunks, three different characters was portraying, and then I had to find a loop between all of them that connected them together. What is their commonality? Who was her baseline personality? And how does she express herself? Where does she carry her feelings? How does she hold her balance? Where does her voice sit? My natural voice is around here. It's a little bit lower, but sometimes a character will talk a little bit higher. They have a little bit higher
yeah.
cadence. Or if they're nervous, they're probably going to be a little bit higher, which is I
Mhm.
was at the beginning of this interview.
Mhm.
Um, when you're comfortable, it comes down. And if you're a strong character, which is something that I would love to play, it's going to be a little bit harsher. They're going to be a little bit louder. these are all things that you think about that in terms shape the character that you're going to play.
Mm.
Um, how they breathe. Um, and I mentioned balance, and that's one of the things that really helps me get into characters. Like, okay, do they hold themselves here? Men hold their balance in their chest. Women hold their balance in their hips. And so if I want to feel a little bit more masculine, I'll bring my attention more here. My balance is in my shoulders and my chest. So immediately there's a change in how I sit, how I bring out my cadence,
Yeah.
my aura, versus if I bring it back down to my hips, I'll probably relax a little bit and I can
Yeah.
bring my voice down. It's a little bit more feminine. So there's small things like that that you think about, how this character, how they want to be perceived, how they think about themselves, and then the underlying, the story, their background, their psychology, their weaknesses, and the desires that they have.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I learned something there too. I didn't know about the whole, posture thing and stuff like that. That's great.
Mhm.
And that would be very beneficial. Is that like do you get taught that in training, or is that just something that you've picked up yourself?
I was taught actually, I think, well, I learned about the balance thing somewhere. I don't think I taught that during my training. I just have high school level training.
Yeah.
Um, because I did theater for 4 years. But my theater teacher she had her doctorate degree. She actually used to work at the college I eventually went to. So I feel like I got a theater degree before I got my degree.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure actually. I mean, I learned about focus. I learned about um uh objectives with character. Every character has an objective, and per scene, they can switch objectives. I
Mm.
remember the example my teacher gave me at the time in high school. She gave an example of like dealing with her kids. You want your kids to go clean their room. Well, you're going to go through a list of objectives. Your first one's probably going to be like telling them, hey, you should go clean your room. Okay, they're not going to do that. All right. New objective. I'm going to get them to clean their room by telling them I will give them a treat after. All right, well, they picked up one thing and put it away. Cool. Let's try something else. I'm gonna lock them in their room and tell them that they have to stay in there. Shift objective, but it's still the same goal, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that you think about as well, and each objective is going to change how you approach
Hmm.
the situation.
Yeah.
So that's one of the major things I learned. Everything else now has kind of just been natural, innate. There's also like stand like an actor. So if you see, if you, I'm gonna stand up, I'll show you. So what I was taught in school to stand like an actor, you're not gonna see me very much, but it's just like this. This is
Yeah.
neutral.
Yeah.
Um, and you start that way before every scene. You're in a neutral position. You act with your partners, and then you add on to it. Okay, where are my arms gonna be? I'm gonna use my arms while I'm talking. Are they going to be sit and poised because I'm powerful? Or, do I play with my hair because I'm nervous? Or, I don't know, there's a million different things that you could do. You could bite your nails or fiddle with your hands, have them behind your back, have them at your hips, you could fold them. The thing that really bugs me is this is just me, this is a pet peeve because it's
Yeah.
easy. It's easy and in my opinion, it's a little cheap, is when people put their hands in their pockets.
Hmm. Yeah.
I make it a point to never do that
Yeah.
unless I absolutely feel like there's a reason for it or I have to do it. Um, yeah. Anyway, I just went off on a very long tangent. Um, but yes.
The whole cleaning the room thing, you just explained my entire week, except for locking them in their bedrooms. I don't do that part. I'm
Evil
like, clean
stepmother.
your rooms. And there's this, just like, they give me a checklist of why they can't. And you put one or two,
Uh-huh.
can I have the treat now? You just explained my entire week.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Negotiation is a key thing when it comes to this. Negotiate.
Negotiating, bargaining. um, manipulation. I mean, all of those are objectives. They're
Yep.
key motives.
Yes. I guess to a point like, okay, fine, I'll just remove your tablet from you if you don't do it. And
Uh-huh.
that generally gets them in to cleaning
And
work.
what, sorry to cut you off, what
That's
makes
okay.
an interesting scene, and occasionally I'll talk to my partners about this, is you discuss what your objective is, and you have to make sure your scene partner's objective is the opposite of yours. And that will make the scene. So if
Yeah.
my objective is to get you to give my car a bath because it needs a bath, and you're like, I can't, I have homework to do. All right, well, the conflict. As long as you have some sort of conflict there, then it'll work. But if you have
Yeah.
similar objectives, it's gonna fall
Mm.
flat.
We can't have a resolution without conflict first. So, yep. All right. Um, how do you approach understanding your character's backstory when it's not fully written into the script? But I know that you just said before that you write your own backstory sometimes. So,
Yeah, I'll write my own. I'll look at what other characters say about my character. So a lot of, you know, a lot of that just comes with having fun with it. I mean, sometimes I can use my own story, my own personal background to be like, okay, here's what I feel this character could have also have gone through. That's one of my favorite, actually, things that are not specifically that, but to figure out how do I relate to this character and what is different. And normally that will help me identify, okay, how can I personally involve myself into this? How can I make myself one with this character? And then what exactly is different about them that I can find a way to piece things to relate to? Um, that's one of the strongest ways that I've discovered to fully develop a character,
yeah,
especially
that's
for
good.
villains too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good trick to do.
Yeah, because we don't get a lot of backstory for the villains, so we kind of had to piece together with what you guys do as actors to put that story together. So it
Mm.
can be difficult sometimes, but like,
Yeah.
why are they doing that? What's their justification for doing that? We may never know, but we've just got to try and. Sometimes you guys bring it out. You guys show us the justification, whereas sometimes you don't, and it depends on the story, I guess.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, it depends on,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything you want anybody to know about you or your work?
It's not easy.
Tough
It is not
questions.
easy. Oh my God, it's not easy. And a lot of the times in these projects, we get a quick rehearsal, which is mostly us standing with the scripts, kind of everyone reading through the lines the first time together. And then you set the scripts down and you shoot the scene. And you get one or two takes. And sometimes those takes can be 15-minute long takes or 20, 20 max typically. Um, yeah, it is not something that is easy in the slightest. It is very emotionally exhausting. It's very physically exhausting. Um, if just look at especially the very long scenes. There are scenes that take days to shoot. And I mean that not in the sense of like, oh, we had 2 pages to shoot, we had 2 days to do it. I mean in this sense that we had 53 pages to do in 2 days.
Yeah.
And so you shoot the first 20 the first day. Camera leaves their setup, you leave, you get undressed, you take all your makeup off. And I'm specifically thinking about the one that I did in Canada because they were so long. Most of it happens all within the span of a day. And so for most of the day, I'm like bloodied. I've got like
Mm,
blood on my leg and my side. And so I have to get back into that, make sure continuity is the same, make sure I'm in the same
mm,
emotional beat the next day, and continue the scene at
yeah.
that same level of stakes that it was the day previous, before I'd
Yeah.
gone to bed, slept for the night,
Yeah.
uh, and do another 20 pages. Um,
Mm.
And then the third day, do it again, do the next 10 pages. Like it's, yeah, um,
Yeah.
not easy. Because on a normal film set, let's say a short film, max, max 10 pages. And that's pushing
Yeah.
it. That used to be like, oh my God, how are we going to do this? Now I look at 10 pages and go, cool, great,
Yay.
that's
Easy
wonderful.
day.
Yeah, yay. But I have a project coming up next year. It's a movie, and the director is telling me, he's like, yeah, we'll probably shoot like 2 to 5 max pages a day. And I was like, for what?
Yeah.
Huh? That sounds wonderful. Yeah. So that's actually one of the things that I'm so grateful for about these is because they're so challenging, able to now after 3 years of doing this, it's become easy. Like that's my baseline now. So anything else,
Yeah.
piece of cake, walk in the park.
Yes. Yeah. I've always said that people who come from like, short films and things like that going into verticals, I think would struggle a bit, obviously at the start, because it's a lot different. But if you can do a vertical, you can do anything.
Do anything. No,
Yep.
literally, you can do anything. Yeah.
Yep.
Um, yeah. I think the thing that does suck is not being able to play with it more. Um,
Yeah.
because usually it's the first take is the rehearsal, basically. That's when you really get a feel for it, depending on who's up first camera wise, if you're being the first on camera or if it's going to be your partners. I like going last because I get more time to play with it. That's my time to play if someone else is first. And then
Yep.
I can go, okay, now I've got it. I can roam. Um, so yeah, that's my only gripe about it, but yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Okay, if you could star in a vertical that you would class as your perfect storyline, what would it be?
Oh my God, let me think about this. I'm too much of a storyteller. I'm gonna like I have to like know the entire story, every single scene, every single details before I can even talk about
Yeah.
anything.
That must
So
be
this
a
is gonna
curse
be a
sometimes
second.
too.
Oh my God, it's a curse. Yes. Oh, absolutely. I'm literally sitting here. I have notes for a book that
Yeah.
I'm writing.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
that's besides the point, not to
Hmm.
distract from the question. Um, I guess I would love to do something happier
Hmm.
for sure. I think I'm looking for something sweeter these days. I'm also in like happier spirits lately.
Yeah.
Um, so I would love to do something like that. Maybe not a sweet character per se, something a little bit more like stands up for herself. Um, kind of like a strong character, but um, within the conflict, it's not, you know, so dramatized, so dramatic that it's painful.
Yeah.
Um, and happy endings.
Yeah.
But any genre, I'm okay with as long as it's happy, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as you're
As of
not put through
lately.
the ringer every time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What do you think makes a scene unforgettable?
Oh, I can speak generally on this. Um, Generally, I think an unforgettable scene has likable characters. Normally, the scene involves two characters with opposing goals, and you're looking for like some sort of resolution to this goal. Um, yeah, I think that's what makes a good scene is, you have characters that are extremely likable. Right now in my head, I'm thinking about Harry Potter just because I just finished watching the movies.
Yeah.
And the characters in that specifically are made to be likable. Every single one of them has a very, very specific personality. Um,
Mm.
and not a single one of them is similar to the other.
Yeah.
Uh, I personally think that that's the goal for any uh, gripping scene is
Mm.
really feeling drawn to the character, feeling drawn to what they represent, and a closeness that maybe, whoever's watching feels close to them because it's going to be subjective per person. There's not going to be a perfect scene. There never is because not everyone has the same taste. Um, so that's sort of why I'm speaking generally as well. But yeah, I think character first, gripping character, and a gripping goal that you want them to have.
Yep, yep. Okay. What are some challenges you face on set that others outside the field might not recognize?
What do you mean?
Like some of the challenges, like some things that you guys do on set that, you may think, oh, this is really hard for us, but like people on outside just go like, oh, you should be like it should be an easy day, but you're like, but we've got this challenge that you would know nothing about type
Mm.
thing. Yeah.
That's a good question.
Thank you.
Ah, this is a petty answer. Well, it's not a petty answer. It's an easy answer. Um, and it's very feels like not a big deal kind of thing. Um, but it's the first thing that came to mind. I'm sure there's other things, but the first thing that comes to mind is uh having to do specific like makeup or costume changes.
Mm.
Um, so like for instance, when I was doing When Love Walked Away, that's the one where my kid's trapped in the car and it's like really hot. I was in the same costume the entire shoot. And I, for one, smelled really bad.
Mm.
But two, also at the very beginning of this script, one single day for the entire film is a single day's worth of stuff happening. And right about here, beginning of the film here, I punch a window with a rock, and my entire arm is bloody. So all day, every day for I don't know how many days we shot for a week or two, my arm was bloody. And
Yeah.
I had to hold it out like this. Just had to have it away from me because I couldn't have it touch any of my other costume because it was
Oh,
white. My pants were white, and I was sticky, and I was sweaty, and I was disgusting, and I almost rolled my ankles. Kind of did roll my ankle in my heels that I was wearing because I was
oh,
running. Um, those are the some of the things that maybe don't think about as much because it's like, well, you kind of have to do it anyway at the end of the day. Like it's part
yeah,
of the
but it's a
job.
challenge. It's a
But
challenge,
it
of
is a
course. Yeah.
not necessarily like a giant one again. It's like not, it's part of my job. Um,
Yeah, no, I
but it
think it still
definitely,
is. I mean, it's hard for you to have to hold that position and be like that for 2 weeks in a row. Like, I'd find that rather challenging. I don't think anybody would. So,
yeah.
yeah.
So things like that, especially, a big bloody arm.
Mhm.
You're wearing white. And I wish I
Yeah.
thought about it because I got to choose which arm to punch with. And I was like, why didn't I do my left arm? Why didn't I think about this?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was upset with myself. I was like, oh.
But
And
that's
then
something
for
that
the
next
rest of it,
time. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Learning. Um, where later, as we're shooting other scenes where my arm is bloody, because thankfully we shot that early enough that I could know which arm. Um, I had to remember during scenes that this arm is injured.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like there are times where I'm like, if I need to do something with my hands, I'm like, it hurts. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Be like,
yeah,
can't just leave it hanging. We have to promote that it's still hurting.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or my adrenaline's going so I can move it and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay. I have one more question for you. If you could go back and relive a single day in your career, which day would you pick?
Ah, That's tough. I actually I want to say, and it's not vertical related because I loved the first vertical. It was so much fun. But if I were to relive a day, it would be the first day I walked onto my very first feature that I ever did. Um, I wasn't getting paid for it, which is more than okay because they housed me and they all became friends. Like I've been friends with them. One of them is like a second parent. Like she's so sweet,
Yeah.
so cute. I lived with her for a year.
Yeah.
Um, and there was something about that set that really eased me into everything. There wasn't any drama. It was just a bunch of people wanting to make a fun comedy movie together in
Yeah.
a mountain that's snowing outside. And
Mm.
we're all just in it together. And it's a small crew, but really, really just wonderful people. Um, and the character I was playing was just still one of the most ridiculous, most wonderful characters I've ever played.
Yeah.
Um, she was she was a Russian, so I had to learn the Russian accent for this role. Um, and I haven't brushed up on it in a while, but I learned the accent, and then I had to sing in it because it was a musical
Mhm.
and dance with the accent, or would dance with the dance normal, sing with the accent.
Yeah.
Um, and I have many stories I could go into about that set, but I won't. I won't go into it too much because they can be very long.
Yeah.
Short story, short. My character's also half blind. I had caffeine, which I didn't know that
Ah,
was a no-no at the time. I
yep.
didn't know it was a no-no. It's a no-no now.
It's a no, no, no. Can we watch that somewhere? Is that available to watch?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know where it's available, but at least for the United States region, it's called Ain't We Got Fun.
Mhm.
And that is on Amazon
Mhm.
Prime? Question mark?
Yeah.
Amazon? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
I
know
have a
if it's
little
available here
on
because a
it.
lot of the things that you can watch there, I can't watch here. So,
Yeah, sometimes it might be one of those. Yeah. Um, it's worth a try. You can look, but
Mm.
it's possible. I mean, I could talk to them, be like, "Hey, is it possible? You can open it up."
That'd be
But
good. That'd be good.
yeah,
I've
I
been
don't know how
wanting
that
to
works though.
watch. I've been wanting to watch. Daniel Bateman did one, Sex, Love, Venice, and I've
Huh?
been really, really wanting to watch that one, but I can't here because it's not available. So apparently it's opening up, but it's not there yet. So
Sucks.
it's really hard living here sometimes. I'm like, I just want to watch these things and I
I just
can't.
want to, yeah, I just want to watch my content.
Yep. But that's okay. That's okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to have this interview with me today. It was lovely talking to you.
Of course, it was so wonderful talking with you. Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime, anytime. Okay, well, you take care and I'll talk to you again very soon.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.